Good afternoon, everyone. It is Friday, January the 30th, 2026. In this video, we're going to be breaking down all the details that you need to know about this very significant winter storm that will bring inches of snowfall across the Carolinas with up to a foot of snowfall along the coast there of North Carolina from Saturday all the way through Sunday with a round of damaging hurricane force winds. But most importantly, the wind chills are going to be very dangerous with this winter storm, as well as colder air comes in out of the north, combined with those strong winds, with a risk for light snowfall over Tampa Bay, Florida. Now, if you are new to the channel and you haven't been here before, my name is David Schlotthauer, a professional weather forecaster that covers severe weather, winter weather, and hurricanes all season long for you. So if you do find the videos very helpful, detailed, informative, and you like my personality and you like what I do for a living, please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Hit that bell notification icon, hit that like button, and share this video with your family and friends on social media, because let's get this out to as many people as we can possible, because what I'm about to cover in this video is utterly rare and very concerning. Now, with that being said, here's a look at the latest HRRR model for early Saturday morning at around 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This will be about the time we will go live here on the YouTube channel. So again, make sure you subscribe and turn all notifications on. So once I do go live, you'll get that notification regardless if you're awake or asleep in bed. So looking at the model here, you can see some light to moderate snowfall over the Appalachians, parts of West Virginia, as well as Kentucky. This storm is going to strengthen exceptionally quickly. It is going to bomb out. It is going to be a winter cane, I should say, with very strong hurricane force winds right along the coast here of Cape Hatteras in North Carolina in the form of wind gusts, but tropical storm force winds are certainly expected with this type of system. No, we're not going to see a tropical storm. We're not going to be seeing a hurricane, but the wind criteria, the wind strength is going to be at tropical storm intensity, similar to tropical storm force winds, winds that are in the tropics that are tropical storm force. So you can see here by Saturday morning, right around say 9 and 10 in the morning Eastern Standard Time, you can see the snow is going to expand in coverage and intensity. We're looking at some decent snowfall across central South Carolina, north part there of South Carolina. Also for central northern Georgia, as well as parts of Tennessee like Bristol, still getting some snow out of this system, as well as parts of Charlotte, North Carolina, getting some snow. But of course, this system is going to intensify a little bit more into a very formidable winter storm with heavy snowfall, strong winds, where you could see some blizzard conditions, some whiteout conditions associated with this system. And this would be for about 7 o'clock on Saturday on the 30th of January, or 31st of January, 2026, the last day that is of January. Look at all the snow that's going to be dumping across Georgia, the Carolinas, into parts of Virginia like Norfolk, Suffolk. Looking at some decent snowfall there, as well as, Cape Hatteras. You're on the transition line because of how strong that wind is going to be. Very windy and snowy even there. But look at what pops up on the map here as we move forward. Towards the end of the model, yes, we have a little bit of an eye wall that does try to form here on the western side of the low pressure system. And that is very, very crazy. And if we look at the 12Z model, I wanted to show you this. So going that far out in time, you'll see a similar picture here. Look at the circulation. Literally, it looks like a hurricane with a very significant eye wall on the northern side and also on the southern side. That goes to show you just how intense this winter storm is going to be right off the Carolina coast. This is going to explosively bomb out. In other words, the pressure is going to fall at least 30 to 40 millibars in a 24-hour period. That is very, very rapid in all sense, and that's why you're going to get the strong winds. Now, for the Northeast, you're not looking at any snowfall with this, so that's why we're not going to even talk about the Northeast, although we will need to talk about Cape Cod here briefly, because I do not want to forget about you all. As Cape Cod, yes, you could get a little bit of snowfall, anywhere between about 1 to 3 inches of snowfall. That's why there's a winter storm watch issued for Cape Cod, Nantucket area. But the rest of the Northeast, we are not looking at anything in the way of snow, but much colder temperatures and strong northerly winds coming in offshore here, which will bring in some very cold temperatures. Another interesting aspect to this dangerous winter storm will be the risk for some snow in Central Florida. Yeah, you heard that right. Central Florida in Tampa metro area, there could be about an inch of snowfall that accumulates here. How rare is that? Literally, snow in Tampa, Florida. No one would ever think that it would snow in Tampa, Florida. Well, you'll think wrong when you see this. So here's a look at the forecast for about 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon here on the 31st day of January. And look at rain coming down, but look what this blue is on your screen. That's snow. That's light to moderate snowfall coming down. And look at that right there. Look at that snow coming down right across parts of even Orlando, Florida. And then, of course, Tampa Bay gets in on it as we go into overnight Saturday into Sunday. Look at these blips on your screen. That is snow showers. That is Gulf effect snow coming down in these bands over Tampa Bay. Now, of course, it is very hard to forecast these to exact precision, but generally this area needs to be on the lookout for the potential for some snow as we go into early Sunday morning. Yeah, maybe a half an inch to maybe an inch of snow for your area. That's a dusting to a cumulative in an inch. So that means roadways are going to be significantly impacted, even so it's an inch. No one is even adapted or even accustomed to this. So that is going to be something to take into consideration. And it still snows here as we go into about 8 or 9 in the morning on Sunday. So now, really quickly, let's look at the snowfall totals. Why not? And you can see snowfall totals here. On this particular model, you're looking at anywhere between about a half an inch to maybe an inch in many areas here. If we look at the 10-to-1 ratio, similar amounts here. So yeah, a little bit of Floridian snow, that is for Tampa, for near Orlando, Florida, and maybe even just south of Ocala, Florida, could get a dusting of snow out of this storm system, just to go to show you how rare it is to see something like this. Now, looking at those snowfall totals across the Carolinas, there will certainly be more than a half an inch to an inch of snowfall in just about anywhere you go in North and South Carolina and most of Virginia. So you can see here, Pikeville, maybe an inch of snow expected with this winter storm. Yeah, a little bit of dusting there. Greenville, though, in North Carolina, 13 inches. Raleigh, 9.6 to maybe 11 or 12 inches. Greensboro, about 6 inches. Hickory, 5 inches. Charlotte, about 6 to 8 inches. Fayetteville there, right around about 10 to 12 inches. Jacksonville, maybe 9 to 11 inches. Wilmington, around 6 inches. Florence, about 7 inches. Greenville, 4 inches. Asheville, 4 inches. Johnson City and Bristol, right around 2 to 7 inches. Knoxville there, right around 4 inches. And Gainesville in Georgia, about 3 inches. Just a FYI, Atlanta, Georgia isn't going to be seen a whole lot, maybe about an inch or two. Virginia Beach, around 6 to 7 inches. And Richmond, around an inch of snow. So now, speaking of Atlanta, Georgia, you can see clearly here on the map up to about a half an inch of snow. Athens, about 3 inches. Atlanta, about 1.5 inches. Statesboro, about an inch. Savannah, right around an inch. Macon, about an inch. Charleston, around an inch and a half to maybe 3 inches. Myrtle Beach, around 5 inches of snowfall. So yeah, decent snowfall, mainly in the Carolinas, really targeting, and of course the higher elevations of the Appalachians could get up to a foot of snow due to some orographic effects. Now, comparing this to the RFS model, I would not trust this at all. This is an experimental model. I'm just showing this for the sake of it, because there is a high-end scenario that could still end up panning out. And this is the high-end scenario. So Virginia Beach, maybe 7.5 inches. Greenville, maybe 15 inches. Fayetteville, 10 inches. Raleigh, 11 inches. Jacksonville, 11 inches. Wilmington, about 8 to 10 inches of snowfall with this winter storm, and the Appalachians could get 1.5 feet of snowfall potentially where orographic effects are maximized. So now that we talked about the snowfall totals and the timing of that winter storm, let's talk about on why in the heck this surface low is going to be so deep, very intense, that's going to generate hurricane force winds, and why it's going to bomb out. So first of all, we need to look at the upper levels of the atmosphere at 500 millibars, which is 18,000 feet above the surface. And what we're looking at here is a vorticity plot map on the Euro. So what we're seeing is all this energy that is curled up here across the upper Midwest in the Ohio Valley, as well as in Missouri, in parts of Iowa. This is advecting rapidly southeastward into the southeastern United States. And as it does so, we're going to get ageostrophic imbalance out ahead of this, where we get upper level divergence, where we get a lot of baroclinic instability that's going to be involved with the system like this. And that is why we are going to get a very intense bombing cyclone. And you'll see that here as I move this forward. So you can see by the time we go into Saturday morning, you can see how this low gets curled down. It becomes more neutrally tilted over Tennessee, over Alabama, over Georgia, as well as Mississippi. Out ahead of this, this is where we have that ageostrophic imbalance, where we have lots of baroclinic ascent out ahead of this low pressure system, where we have a very good, beautiful left exit region in the upper level height field, as well as upper level winds here spreading out. And what that does is that lowers surface pressures, because when you spread air aloft, right, air wants to diverge aloft, you're going to lower, you need to fill that void. So you're lifting the atmosphere up a little bit and lowering the surface pressures underneath all of this. And that is why we are going to see a bombing cyclone off the mid-Atlantic coast of North Carolina as we go into Saturday night into Sunday. And you'll see this gets even more amplified. Look at this, becomes more neutrally tilted over Georgia, over northern Florida. Keep in mind, look at the 540 line. This is getting all the way down into Ocala, Florida. This is very far south. And so you could imagine a lot of colder air rushing in out of the north here, decent warm air advection out ahead of this. And so when you clash these two air masses together, that's what we call baroclinic instability. And this helps a lot with the upper level divergent flow aloft. So that's why this system is going to be intensifying very quickly, because anytime you get, again, flow that does this aloft, you lower things below. And lower the pressure, stronger the storm is, right? Since you have a tighter pressure gradient that shapes up. But it really becomes nasty as we go into late Saturday night into Sunday. Look at this, man. This is a beautiful, beautiful left exit region of the very strong jet streak that's going to encroach on the southern side of this at over 130 knots over central Georgia, central Florida, that is, northern Florida. And then, of course, a lot of positive vorticity advection, advecting into the Carolinas here. And that is why we are going to get a bombing cyclone associated with this. Very beautiful to see this all unfold very quickly. And that is why this is going to be such a big problem as this develops. So now let's talk about how strong and destructive these winds will actually get with this bombing cyclone, especially when we have very good jet stream dynamics to work with. This is going to lead to a big wind event for sure along the Carolina coast. So let's move forward and look at the European model here, because you'll see, take note of the circulation, winds doing this, they curve around like this. This is where we have our surface low rapidly developing at the surface underneath very significant upper level divergent flow and upper level ascent. What that's going to do is this low is going to develop very, very quickly. Look at this, northerly wind already over parts of, say, Cape Hatteras, with winds sustained anywhere between 35 to 40 miles an hour. But this is going to get a lot stronger. Take note of how this really will explode very quickly. By the time we go into, this is Sunday early morning, look at these winds along the coast of Cape Hatteras, between 45 to 50 miles an hour perhaps, and that gets a lot stronger. I showed Ethan this last night, my friend Ethan B, that is a severe weather expert. He was like, holy cow, man, that is blowing up very quickly. I mean, we are talking pressure falls of at least 24, about 30 to 40 millibars per 24 hours. That's very fast. That's a very quick drop. At least a millibar or two per hour, we will see this drop once upper level dynamics really maximize over the system. So that is what our biggest concern here is going to be the damaging winds that come with a system like this. And when we take a look at those wind gusts, you can definitely get an idea. Actually, let's do wind gust accumulation. That's a lot better here. And yeah, so let's put this here. So you can see wind gusts across Florida between 40 to 50 miles an hour. So some power outages certainly. And then right along the coast here of the Carolinas, we're looking at wind gusts between 30 to 45 miles an hour. Of the exception of Cape Hatteras here, that could see wind gusts between 60. Yeah, you got that right from the Euro, 60 to maybe even 75 to even 80 miles per hour, maybe even locally higher in some of these areas, which will be more than enough to bring down trees, lead to widespread power outages, even some coastal flooding due to the high surf that is expected with this. In fact, let's take a look at the surf because that's going to be the biggest issue with this winter storm. Take note of the surf here right along the coast. Yeah, we're talking 15 to 20 foot waves with some breakers topping 25 feet high because of a system this strong. So yeah, if you're along the coast, this could be almost like a tropical system in the sense that there could be some coastal flooding, also some beach erosion, some pier damage, that sort of thing. Do not be a victim in flooded coastal waters due to the fact that this storm system is going to be utterly dangerous. Another thing that I wanted to show you all in this video is just how dangerous the cold Arctic wind chills are going to get across much of the southeastern United States. So we're first going to be looking at Florida here, and you can see, yeah, wind chills and air temperatures not so bad today, really nice and mild. Today is the day to walk the dog, to do anything that you want because it's going to get darn chilly as we go into Saturday. Take note, look at this Arctic air really moving in as we go into throughout the day, Saturday into early Sunday morning. This is 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Gainesville wind chill values of 11 degrees, Tallahassee right around 9 degrees, Miami, Florida 32 degree wind chills, but it's going to get even colder than that. By about say 7 or 8 in the morning, Miami, Florida could have wind chills as low as 20 degrees. 20 degrees potentially, between 20 to 25 degrees. West Palm Beach, 19. Gainesville, 9 degrees. Tallahassee, 9 degrees. Some rural spots could have wind chill values as low as 5 degrees above zero. Yeah, that's cold. Pensacola Heights, 7 degrees. Panama City, 14 degrees. Mobile, Alabama, around 11 degrees. And it's not going to get really good tomorrow. It's only going to, wind chills are going to stay in the upper 20s to lower 30s. So it's going to be very chilly throughout the day on Sunday into even Monday. So now looking for at Georgia and the Carolinas, you can see wind chills here going to be very dangerous as we go into Sunday morning here. Atlanta might feel like 3 degrees. Macon right around 4. Athens 1 degree. Augusta might feel like 12 degrees. Statesboro around 6 degrees. Albany, Valdosta right around Valdosta, I said it right around 8 to 9 degrees. Newman 1 degree. Rome 4 degrees. Chattanooga around 1 degree. It's not on this map, but Bristol, Tennessee could have wind chill values as low as negative 15 to negative 20 degrees below zero. That is extremely dangerous, and boy, easy. I sure hope you have your heater ready to go. Greenville, negative 2. Now looking at the Mississippi, Alabama area, you can see wind chills overnight, Saturday into Sunday are going to be, actually tonight, they're going to get really low. That is, yeah, Saturday morning, Jackson, 3 degrees, Meridian, 2 degrees, Hattiesburg, 5 degrees, yeah, West Gulfport, 13 degrees, Baton Rouge, 15 degrees. It's going to feel like Greenville, 3 degrees, Pine Bluff, negative 2, Tupelo, negative 1, Oxford up here, you're looking at negative 4 to negative possibly 10 degrees below zero. And with any ice left on the trees and power outages, this is going to cause more potential life at stake here, livestock as well. And then temperatures warm up a little bit, but not by much. Wind chills are going to be extremely dangerous all day tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, it is just going to plummet yet again with those wind chills that are going to be extremely dangerous. anywhere between about 0 degrees to as warm only as 10 degrees with Huntsville there at 4. Last location that I wanted to show you all is basically the Carolinas. Take note again, some of these valley spots could have wind chills as low as -10, -15 degrees below zero tonight. And then as we go into Sunday, check this out. Literally, some areas could have wind chills -30 degrees. We got -31 here. The Appalachians -28. And then Bristol is somewhere in here. Yeah, Bristol somewhere in here. Yeah, wind chills -15, -20 degrees below zero. Roanoke -10. Harrisburg right around -10. Charlottesville right around 1 degree. It's be very dangerous, folks. Very, very dangerous. But anyways, if you did find this video very helpful, detailed, informative, and life-saving, please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, folks. I will be live this evening with a short discussion, probably about an hour to an hour and a half, just to go over the latest 0Z model runs of what the system is going to do. And then starting at 1 in the morning, Pacific Standard Time. That is 4 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. Please set your alarms to wake up because we are going to be going live all day long. It's going to be about an 18 to 24 hour live stream to talk about the snowstorm that's going to be impacting the Carolinas. We're going to look at live cameras, live surface observations, and give you the best up-to-date life-saving information on this winter storm. But you can only do that if you do subscribe, share, like, and also leave a comment in the section below this video because we will be live for almost 24 hours on this beast of a winter storm.